In this video, we are going to look at bringing in components from the 3D warehouse. So I'm in my SketchUp model, and what I want to do is go to Window 3D Warehouse. Now, you will need to have created a Trimble account in order to do this. So when you first open the application, what you need to do is type in here whatever kind of component you're searching for. So I'm going to start with looking for some people. And I'm going to narrow the focus to just models. So I'm going to click on models here. Right, so you'll see that there are lots of options for bringing in people, and which one you choose really just depends on what you're looking for. One thing you'll notice is that sometimes it's just an individual, and other times it's like a whole group of people. Now, there's some convenience to bringing in a whole group because once you bring them in, you can kind of explode the group and move them around. One thing to be a little cautious about is the size of the file. If you start to bring in files that are too big and you find that it's just making the SketchUp file move really slowly, you may want to reconsider what you've brought in. I'm going to bring in a couple of types here, and I'm going to download them and load them into my SketchUp file, and I'm going to place them. Let me put this one over here. Okay, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to bring in another group of people. I think I have to maybe go back out to do another search. People, models. Now, one thing about bringing in a whole collection of people is that they may have a kind of similar aesthetic or a kind of graphic associated with them. One person has generated all of these, and so there should be some kind of consistency. I'm going to click on download here and bring it in, and this one I'll place over here. So I'm not going to use both of these, but I just wanted to bring a couple in to sort of illustrate a few things. Okay, so first of all, when you click on them and then you go to the entity information, you're going to find a definition here, component one in the model. So this is just one component, and it's got several people. Now, when you look at this, it's kind of strange. They're all in a row. The idea isn't that you would leave them like this, but that you would bring them into the file and then explode the component, and then you have a series of other objects within that component that you can use. Also, if you go down to components here, let me close the entity info, and you click on the house to see which components are already in the model, you'll see the two that I brought in are the 2D plus people and the SKP plus people. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, and one thing I wanted to mention, I'm going to use the orbit tool, and if you keep your eye, let's say, on this person, this figure in the front here, when I spin around, you'll notice that the figure rotates, so it's always oriented towards whatever view direction I'm looking at the model. Okay, so you never see, it's not really a 3D model in this sense that it has actual physical depth to it. It's just a kind of flattened image that's set to rotate relative to the camera view. So let's go look at these ones here. Same thing, you never see the side of someone who's facing you from the initial image. Okay, so again, you want to make this choice about what you use in terms of the people on kind of what aesthetic you're looking for. I'm going to take this group right here, right click on it and explode the group. Now, as you can see, it's now a bunch of separate things, and I can then take them and sort of move them around. Be careful not to drop them below the ground plane line like that. You want to keep them situated so they're sitting on top of the platform or the ramp or the stair. Now you want to probably at some point double check this. And if I go to a standard view here, change to parallel projection, and let's say go to a front view, just to make sure. So you can see when I moved this one, the figure was moved below the ground plane. So you can kind of gauge that as you're kind of working. But the idea would be to move these figures kind of around the space, distribute them as you need to. I'm going to go back to a 3D view here, and I'll start to move them around. Okay, so same thing goes for this one. Now, let's just take a look at one of these. When I click on it now, and I go to, they're still kept under the 3D components. If I go to entity, let's see what happens here. 2D characters, so there's a definition there of this particular character, or I'm sorry, this particular component here. So you may want to bring in some of the other components before you sort of make decisions about where to place these. And then, you know, you want to look for things like, notice how this figure is kind of half inside the wall. You want to kind of eliminate those sorts of conditions and kind of place them in areas that are logical, perhaps, for what they're doing. And that's it for this part of the assignment.